Hello, welcome back to Logic Lab, a channel where I teach puzzle solving one deduction at a time. As I work through this Sudoku grid, I'll explain my entire thought process, and by the end of the solve, you'll have a clearer understanding of how to read Sudoku structure, spot hidden interactions, and break open even the trickiest of puzzles. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to be trying Degrees Rømer by Pwinn. Rhymes with Quinn. Okay, rules are normal Sudoku rules apply. Digits on thermometers either increase or remain the same from bulb to tip. Coloring is cosmetic. Those are all the rules. Now, this puzzle has a very fascinating experiment by Pwinn that is to play with this slow thermometer idea. Digits increase or stay the same along a thermometer. So I will explain, after I do the puzzle, I will explain more and dive deeper into this theorem or idea of the slow thermometer. Okay, the way to play is to click the link below. Now it's my turn. Let's do it. So digits on thermometers increase or remain the same from both the tip. So this is a humongous thermometer. It's a huge thermometer, so it has to be quite restricted. Now, there's obviously only 9 digits you could place in a Sudoku grid. This can't be too high, obviously, because it has to obey that principle of digits either increasing or remaining the same. So the way I'm going to look at this is, well, we can figure out how high this digit has to be. The thermometer is ginormous. What if I make this a 2? This could increase. Now, I'm doing this to show you guys what's going to happen. The digits are staying the same, okay, and Sudoku is not breaking also. So, okay, I made it a 2, and I'm going up, going up. I'm kind of experimenting here. 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, that's good. 7, 7. Now, this thermometer extends here. This would have to be an 8, but we're running out of digits. So we can't put a 10, right? This would be 8, that would be 9, that would be 9. This is also part of the thermometer. So this shows you that we can't have a 2 or anything higher than a 2. We will run out of space, we'll run out of digits. So hopefully that is a nice way to break through the puzzle. This is the only possible way to make the ginormous slow thermometer work. Now 5, 6, 6. This can't be a 6, so 7, 7, 8, 8, and 9, and 9. And that completes this 23 cell wide thermometer, which I will investigate later in the video. We can, of course, just do Sudoku. We need a 1, 3, and a 5. This can't be a 1 or a 5, so it is a 3. This has to be 5, that has to be 1. Okay, very good. We need a 1 to go in the row. Okay, it can't go on the second part of the thermometer because this would have to be a 1, which would duplicate, or a 0, which we can't put. So the 1 is nowhere any of those squares. So this, I'm sorry, the 1 is nowhere in any of these squares. So that is a 1. Yeah, I could just fill out this row. We need a 2, 7, and 8. Well, these are not 8s. So that is an 8. Now, if you made this a 7, you can clearly see why it's going to break this thermometer and break this thermometer. Because making this a 7 means this would have to be a 9, but then you can't go any higher. You have to repeat the 9s. And also making this a 2 is not going to work due to this thermometer. So clearly this is very forced, 7, 2. The 6 is there by Sudoku, 5 and a 9. You obviously can't put a 9 here. Digits must increase or remain the same. So that is a 5, that's a 9, perfect. This now can't be a 9, because then you'd have to remain the same, and it would clash. Then it's not a 7, so therefore it's an 8. And now you're forced to put double 9s like this. This is for sure extremely approachable, which is very nice. All right, the 9 is very restricted, because remember, it cannot go at the start or in the middle of the thermometer. In this case, it actually could, because we could duplicate the 9s. The thermometer is contained within box 3. So if there's a 9, it must go on the end. And we know there is a 9 on that thermometer, and it must go there. Okay. We can play a similar game with 1s. Okay. The 1s cannot go in the middle of the thermometer or at the end. It must go on the start. This cell is kind of interesting because it's seeing 4, 5, 6, 7. And it can't be an 8 because that's not going to make the thermometer work. And it's not a 1, obviously. Or a 2, because this would be 0, 1, 2. So the only digit it can be is a 3. Hopefully that's clear. Just by combining the row and the column, looking at this digit and the thermometer logic, the only cell that is a 3, which means this is a 2, that is a 1. Now this digit is quite restricted. It actually has to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me. Let me go back. Made a little mistake here. Where did I make the mistake? Oh, whoops. That was not smart by me. I assumed that that could be an 8. And it led me to this, which it would break Sudoku because of that 8. But that's not true, actually. This is a 6. Because remember, it's a slow thermometer, so the digits could remain the same. They don't have to increase. So actually, that's my mistake. This should be a 6, and that should be an 8. That is a nice way of resolving that issue. Now, by Sudoku, this is a 2. Let's be careful here. We need a 1. This needs to be a 7. We need a 4, a 5, and an 8 to go there. Okay. These cells need to be a 1, a 2, and a 6. This is not 2 or 6. So it's 1. Those are 2, 6. Yeah, we can think about this thermometer. The 5 and the 6 need to go in the box somewhere, so they must go here. And we know the order because digits, when permitted, when permissible, have to increase on that thermometer. So 5, 6, so this is an 8 now. This is now 4, so that's an 8, making a 4, 5 pair here. This cell, the only other digit in that column is 7. We need a 3 and an 8. Okay. This needs to be a 3 because it's not a 1 or a 2. 4. This needs to be 6, 7. So definitely a 9 in one of 2 positions. No, this needs to be an 8 or a 9. It's not an 8 via Sudoku. So that is a 9. It's a 4. 3 and 7 must go like that. So we have 2 7s here, 2 7s here. So there's no more 7s in the column 1 and 2. And that's not a 7. So this is a 7. This is either 8 or 9, and it must be 8, which will give you 3. That will give you the 8. We need to put a 1 somewhere in row 3. So that is a 1. This is a 2 or a 6. It must be a 2, which gives you the 6, gives you the 2. This needs to be a 3 or a 4. This needs to be a 6. And that is a 9, which means that's a 9. That's a 7. That's a 6. 3, 7, or 3. Almost there. This is a 2. That's a 5, which does the 4 and the 5. And we have a 4 and an 8 to finish it off. Bang. 111 solvers in about 11 days. Time is 11 minutes and 28 seconds. So that is the puzzle. Now, those of you that want to stick around to see my analysis, please, I implore you to stick around. You won't want to miss it. Okay, question. The slow thermometer that we just looked at, according to Pwinn, that was the longest slow thermometer that you could have in a 9x9 grid. Now, I tried to investigate this to figure out if we can generalize the maximum length of a thermo that stays the same or increases in any Sudoku. For 9x9, the max is 23 cells long. Now, I've done some work. Let me just show you. I'm going to show you the thermometer in the finished grid of the puzzle that I just did. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 19, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, 23, okay? So notice that this thermometer, this giant thermometer, does not cross itself, okay? It visits unique cells. Okay, every cell is unique. It doesn't duplicate. It does not cross itself. Now, in my examination, I'm going to allow crossovers, meaning in this scenario, I allow the path to cross over itself. I'm not bumping into the path, but I'm allowing for crossovers. So if we do that, we start at this cell, and this is what I found. Now the maximum length, yeah, so if we allow for the crossing over, now the maximum length becomes 1, 2, 3. We can fit 3 1s, 3 2s. We can fit 3 3s, 3 4s, come up here, 3 5s, 3 6s, 3 7s, 3 8s, and 3 9s. So this is valid. So this length is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 27 cells long. That is the maximum way you can do it. Now, moving in an orthogonal or diagonal manner. Now you can kind of see why that makes sense, because when you look at this scenario, these 3, they all could be different digits, right? If we make them all the same, it will not violate Sudoku. If I look at a path like this, obviously we run into an issue because these 3 have to be different. But when you start putting the diagonals, like this diagonal, right, for instance, you could have all 3 be different. So this is a way where we can combine it to maximize the usage of each digit appearing exactly 3 times, and we can connect them all in a very nice way. Now, I'm sure that this path is symmetrical. You can rotate the grid 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees. You'll get the same thing. I believe there's no other maximum way to do it. Each digit is used a total of 3 times, and the total amount of cells is 27 different cells in a straight line path where you're allowed to cross. I think it's technically okay because we're not duplicating or we're not branching. At least like it's one direction going this way. We're not cutting back into ourselves. Maybe you could say it's branching, but I don't know. This to me when I was investigating is the most satisfying. Now, back to the whiteboard. So can we generalize it? Okay, so for 9x9, saying the max is 23. Well, if we allow us to intersect at a vertex, then it's actually 27. Now here I investigated an 8x8 grid, which is right here. So I'm gonna zoom in. If you'll let me zoom in, please, please. Okay, I'm zooming in. Very nice. The quality is still really good. So here's the 8x8. Now it consists of eight 2x4 boxes, okay? 8 2x4 boxes. And I initially started right here in uh, this cell, and I went down like this. I said, okay, I can get 3 1s here. That's great. I can come back up and I can get a 2, and I can utilize this diagonal, which these 4 all have to be different by Sudoku, so I can make them all 2s. When I did that, I quickly realized that I could actually take these 3 cells away and start with the 1. So if I take these 3 cells away, the 3 1s, and I start with the 1 here, now I have 4 1s here. Now here comes the 2. Now we have a 3. I can use 4, 4, 4. I could use 5s, 6s, 6, 6. I was originally thinking coming down, but I can actually go to 7 and then, whoops, 7, and then do the 7s. And then I can do 8s. That's what I thought. Now that is only 17 cells long, but I wanted to do better. I wanted to do better. So I allowed myself to look at this scenario. It's kind of hard to see, but basically what I did, I started like this, and then I went like, whoops, and then I went like that, and then I went here, then I went up like this, and then I went like this, and now here I went like this, I went here, here, this way. I know it's a lot of crossing, but bear with me. This actually works. This works because we make that a 1. These are all 1s. This is a 2. That's a 2. 3, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 7, 5, 5, 5. Okay, so these threes are 5. 6, 6, 6, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8. So that in total, and I have wrote it down here, kind of a little diagram here. You can see this diagram is 23 cells. So I was able to draw it, and that's the maximum that I was able to find. I'm pretty sure that's the maximum. So now I said, okay, well, what about a 6x6? Now this is fascinating. You guys should stay for this part. It is utterly ridiculous. You can get to 20 cells with the 6x6. That's only 3 less than an 8x8. 8x8 has 64 squares. 6x6 only has 36. So you have a lot less squares to work with, and you can still do 20. This is my solution. And you can actually solve it. I solved the red digits or after the fact. You can solve it like a Sudoku, and it's very satisfying. It satisfies all the digits 1 to 6 once each and every row, column, and every 2x3 region. So I started just to go over the solution for the 6x6 is I started here. And actually what's very, very cool about the 6x6 is that you can't do this in a 9x9 grid with 3x3 boxes. You see these? You can't do that in, like, you can't have 4 of these in a connected and diagonal be all different digits. It's not possible in a 3x3 box. The maximum is 3. So we can utilize both of those diagonals, right? That can have 4 repeated digits. So that's why the line is so long. So here's 1, 1, 1. We go to 2, We go 2, 2, 2, 2, and we go down to 3. So we can pick up those 3. And then we go to 4. And then we go all the way down here, pick up the 4, and we do the 5s, 5, 5, 5. And it looks like we're running out of space, but we can come up to the 6 and cross like this. So this cool little pattern manages to visit every single cell in the center and in this 4x4 region and these 2 cells. And then the rest on the outside, you could actually finish like a normal Sudoku. And again, I'm sure this is symmetrical. I'm sure you can rotate it 180 degrees and you'll probably get the same result. So allowing those extra restrictions of you can cross, you just need to know what direction that you're going in. We're going in this direction, and then that direction, and then this direction, and then coming back, going this direction, and we're coming back this way. And yeah, it's very cool. So those are my that's what my investigating has come to. Do let me know in the comments if you explore this. Of course, the question that we're looking for is, can we generalize the maximum length of a thermo? In this case, it's called a Slow-Thermo. So it stays the same or increases in any Sudoku. 9 by 9, the max, well, 23 Celsius without doing the crossing on the vertex, which Pwinn found. 27 is this example that I showed you. This example, that's the path. And with an 8 by 8, it's a little different. I think the maximum you can do is 23, and with the 6 by 6 is 20. So food for thought, you guys can try a 4 by 4. In the comments, let me know what you get. And if any one of you guys can generalize it, I could make a follow-up video to what a formula could be to generalize an n by n Sudoku. What is the maximum length that you could make in a Slow-Thermo visiting all unique cells in the grid? So that's the video. Hope you guys liked it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.